PianoLessons.com, the #1 name in piano lessons online.
Hi, my name is Nate Bosch. In today's lesson, I want to talk to you about how to read a chord chart, or how to read a lead sheet, it's also known as. I'm going to make a couple of assumptions first. I'm going to assume that you know what a chord is, and you can build basic triads, sevenths, you understand intervals. What I want to talk about today is how to read them, how each of those chords is notated on a sheet. Now, in regular sheet music, this chord right here would be built with notes on a staff. Now, a chord chart or a lead sheet just has the chord written on top. So this chord right here would be notated on a sheet of music as a C. Now, we're going to play a C major chord, a nice jazzy chord. It's going to be written two ways. And it's going to be defining that interval right there, the seventh. So that would be considered a C major 7 chord. Well, we know that it's considered a C major 7 chord. How is it written? Two ways. Regular popular music, country, blues, pop, rock, they'll write it probably. You won't find that chord too often in some of those types of music, but it'll write it as a C with a capital M-A-J and then a 7. In jazz, it'll often be written C with a triangle behind it. Same chord, just written a little bit differently. Now, when you see a little m beside a chord, that identifies it as a minor chord. When you see, say, a D-M with a little m, that's a D minor chord. Now when we see D, little m, and a 7, well, that 7 is talking about the interval off of the root. So we know that's a D minor 7 chord. That's how it's written, D with a little m and a 7. Now, dominant 7th chords, which are based on the 5th degree of the scale, so in the key of C, that would be a G. Now, a G major 7 talks about the major 7 interval, a G minor 7, where we lower the 3rd. So how do you notate a G dominant 7th chord? Well, simply G7. That'll always indicate a dominant chord. So there's some basics we have. Now, if we go to a sus chord, a suspended chord, it'll be written C sus. Now, what does that look like? There you have a C sus chord. Or that's a C sus 4, because the 4th note suspends to the 3rd. Now you might see a C sus 2-4, not a very common chord, but 2-4, it talks about intervals again. So when you're looking at these chords on a chord chart, it's important to remember just a couple of rules, and you have to understand intervals. So if I just throw out a couple of chords at you, like how would, let's go with, well, we have an F minor chord. It's an F minor 7 chord, would be written F with a little m and a 7. Now I'm going to throw one at you here, and there we have the C7 chord with a 9th on it. How would we write that? Well, you'll see that written as a C with just a 9. Now, with a C add 9, I'm just throwing a bunch of terms at you here, and you can stop it at any time and kind of review, but C add 9 would be a C with just making sure that that 9th is on the top. Now C major 9 would include that 7th, which defines the sound of the chord. So I'm going to talk about two more. We've talked about the major chord, major 7, dominant 7th, minor 7th, the minor chord. And now there's the augmented chord. Well, how is an augmented chord written? Well, there's a C augmented chord. It's written C plus. Now C plus 7, there's where your C plus 7 would be. For a diminished chord, it's written with a dim behind it, D-I-M, a little dim, or it'll have a circle, just a little, like a degree. Circle would be a diminished chord. So I hope I didn't run through them too quickly, but that gives you a quick overview on how to read a chord chart and how chords that you understand and can build and look at on a keyboard, how they're written on the page.